first thing that needs to be done once opening Sinter is you have to home all of the axes. So all I've done up until this point is opened up Sinter. I've gone to man ops, which means manual operations. Before that, I've turned the light on in the chamber, which I showed you. To hit man ops, you may not be able to, so once you hit piston control, you may not have access over the motion. There is a green button I will try to pan to here. Green button down here, right here. So you'll have to hit this first. And once you hit that on the screen, you should see the piston control. So you can see home limit for the part piston, which is the center piston, left piston, which is the left feeder, and right piston is the right feeder. So we'll hit home on all of these. And we can see here, all three are homing. Alright, so now that everything is finished homing, we'll go back to the software and take a look. And there we go. Alright, so as you can see in the software here, you have the positions that you can type in for the left, right feeder, and also the part. So the reason we had to home these was to obviously make sure that they know where they are positionally. So with the part feeder, we can actually set that to the start position. So we'll hit start position, and that will bring it back to the top because that's where it starts the first layer. The difference though on the left and right piston is, so if you look at a document, when I did the test file, in the build setup software, when I did the time estimate, I hit OK, and it told me the time, that it would be 3 hours and 45 minutes. And it also told me the amount of powder needed was 1.5 inches, and the required position is 16.504. These are the required piston positions for the left and right feeder, but for a factor of safety, we take 16.504, we round it to the nearest tenth, so 16.5, and we subtract another tenth. So 16.4 is what we should set our feeders to. So we'll go back to Sinter, and we will move both the left and right pistons to 16.4 inches, and we'll wait for that to happen. So now you should be able to see that the build pistons, or the build piston is raised up to the top surface. It's actually slightly beneath this plane right here. So it actually builds up layer of powder first to kind of have a barrier. But you can see both the left and the right pistons for the feeder have actually raised up to just at that 1.496 inches on each side of powder. So what will happen then is we'll put powder in both of these feeders. We'll actually directly dump powder into these and level them off with the roller. Just pretend as if we've already added the powder, but the tools that you can use before using the roller to smooth everything out is this squeegee. You can actually use to help just smooth out some of the powder across the surface. And if you don't want to use the squeegee, you can use this plastic bar. Same idea though. You're just smoothing out the surface with that. And if you have a lot of excess powder on the edges here, you can use the brush. Be careful though, as the bristles can contaminate the SLS powder. by actually falling into here. So like there's a lot of dirt here which we'll actually want to pull out before printing, but we'll want to vacuum that out. So in order to show you how this would normally go without adding powder, I'm going to raise the feeder positions back up, and then I'm going to use the roller to smooth across the surface, acting as if we've just used the squeegee or whatever tool we need to smooth out, roughly smooth out the surface. Now that the pistons are raised up, or we'll pretend that they are after we've added powder and kind of roughly smooth the surface over, I'm actually going to lower these just slightly, just so that there's not so much excess powder sitting on top. I'm going to lower them to about 17.8. 18 is the max height of the feeder piston. So these go, you can see the, well, I don't know if you can see all the way down here, but the feeder piston, the feeder piston is all the way under here, and then the box right here is actually the excess spillover powder that gets collected, so we can pull that out later. Alright, so now let's show you how to use the roller to smooth over this section. So we'll go back to the software, and we will zoom in, back on the software. All right, great. So I've exited out of piston control, and I will hit roller. Now, let's see, we'll hit the start button just to make sure it allows us to move. But, let's see, it's not letting me move. All right, so now we're back into the roller control, and what I forgot is that nothing will run. You can't move any of the roller components until you actually close the main hatch. So that's what we'll do. To close the hatch, all you have to do is grab the handle and pull it down. We'll do that. It's pretty easy. So we'll go back to the computer and take a look. So now that the hatch has been closed, we should be able to hit start, and we actually need to close out of this, and we need to hit latch, which this does not appear to be fully closed. Come on. Alright, so I'm going to try some troubleshooting here. Learn as we go here. I'll back out the camera. So we'll actually take this tray, we'll pull it out. This is the heater tray. There are heater pads on each side, on left and right, and then the laser actually comes through the center here. And we need to put these shields in here. Now, I'm almost positive this shield is backwards. So just to make sure we're not doing this wrong. Bear with me for a second. I will probably time lapse and post. There we go. So these flaps hold this plate out. So we have both. All right. So this isn't going anywhere. Now we can latch this, hopefully. So let's see. Back here, zoom in, let's see what we got. All right, so I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to zoom in a little further. But there is a latch button in the upper left-hand corner, right here. So we'll hit latch. and you'll hear the latches close. Alright, so the latches are now closed. We have the option to unlatch if we'd like, but now we'll go to roller control. So if I hit the start button, ideally, yep, alright, now we have control over the roller. It knows that the roller's on the right side, so we're going to hit move this left. I'm going to make sure that we have our powder catcher on the left side, just so we don't dump powder everywhere. Yep, we're good. That is in place. Alright, fantastic. So, we will hit this left button. It will move the roller all the way across here. Alright, so I don't know if you caught that. Also, this glare is really difficult to see. But we'll hit this button again. We'll hit that. And you'll see the roller come across and is kind of smoothing out this surface. So what would happen is you would then raise the right and left feeder position until you have a perfectly smooth surface. So we'll attempt to do that right now, but it might take a second. So you should be able to see into the chamber now, hopefully. And what we'll attempt to do is we will exit back out of the roller control into piston control, and I'm going to incrementally move the build chamber technically down, or the feeder positions down. So these left two ones, you'll be entering a number that's lower than what you originally had because, well, we'll be raising it up. Excuse me, I had that reversed. We'll be raising these up. So I'm going to type, we're at 17.8 for both feeder positions. So I'm going to type 17.82 and see how much powder we have that's raised up. So not much. So I'm going to add a little more. You also want to be mindful of where the feeder or the roller is, excuse me. So the roller's on the right side now. So instead of raising this one, which essentially you raise it, roller would come across and push all the excess powder that you added into the spillover bin, which is not helpful to us. So of course we want to raise the powder feeder of the side closest to the roller, as it'll spread that across the bed. So I'm going to go into the right side. I'm going to add, let's do 17.825, which did not appear to move enough. So I'm going to go 17.84. And we'll try rolling the roller over it. So we'll go back to roller and hit left. And you should be able to see the roller come across. Alright. So not a lot of powder is added. So we'll do this until we have a perfectly smooth layer. So I'm just going to set this on time lapse. Alright, before I switch back into time-lapse mode as I level the bed, there is another feature for leveling the powder so you don't have to do it all by hand. This can be done in the software. It's called level powder. Easy enough. You hit level powder and it gives you the option of left, part, and right piston. You can move it up and down, and it gives you an increment set. So if the increment set is at 2 right now, 2 inches, which is way too much. So we'll actually set it to 0.2, let's say. We'll enter. The roller is currently on the left side, so I'm going to hit up on the left. And turn off. Yes. Alright, so the horn that you just heard is the machine telling us that the left and right feeders don't have enough powder, which it basically maxed out. So I meant to type 0.02, not 0.2. That's why I freaked out. So we're gonna raise ourselves or lower ourselves back to 17.8. We're at 18, so we're gonna go back up 0.2, 17.2, and we're going to lower the left piston, and that should bring us back to 17.8. Now 17.02 is where we want to be, and we'll raise that up. And I know that that's not enough powder, so we'll raise it up one more time and check it out. So still not enough powder. You'll be able to see the powder kind of crest over the rest of the powder, so you'll know when there's not enough being distributed. So with that said, let's zoom in on the build. All right, build chamber. So a little bit of powder, but we're going to go one more increment of 0.02. So we're now at 17.88, which is 0.12 inches below the top height. And now we will hit this button, move to limit, which will move the roller back across here. And you can see the powder coming with the roller, and it was kind of filling in those spaces. So now we'll do the same thing we just did with the left side with the right side. And we're going to keep doing this over and over until the surface is level. So I'm going to set this into time lapse. Alright, as you might be able to see, there's just one little spot left. I've got the pistons at 17.2 and 17.9 inches on left and right respectively. The roller is currently on the right side, so I'll do one more pass. I'll raise the right side up 0.02 inches, and then I'll move the roller to the limit, and hopefully this will fill in the last bit. All right. So hopefully, as you'll be able to see here, it has filled in. It's a little hard to tell with all this glare, but the surface is perfectly smooth now, and this is what we're going for. All right, fantastic. All right, so we're still in the manual operation settings, and we've finished leveling the powder. Now the next couple things we could do is we could either inert and heat the chamber, or we could go directly into the build setup, or using the build setup program, the build packet file, and start the build on the machine. This of course is after you've already turned on the coolant and you have opened the gas, the nitrogen gas from the tanks, and let it start feeding in. So I would recommend hitting the inert button. I'll hit it right now. I don't have gas flowing, but you'll basically, let's see if we can zoom in so you can see this. All right, so we're now zoomed in. You should be able to see the inertion or the inerting control window here. So as I was saying, you'll have the nitrogen open, the valve open. Then you can start inerting the chamber. We usually have a set point of about 5.5, but it's really best when your oxygen level is really, really low, like less than 1. Otherwise, you get yellowing of parts and issues like that. So we'll exit out of here, and then another option you can do is you can start heating up the chamber, and you can confirm that you have Duraform and polyamide in here, and go through there. Now, the last option is exiting the manual operations, which I don't think you can see, so let me zoom out for a second. So I was just in manual operations. I hit exit, and then you hit build. Right now there's an issue with the printer connecting to some other stuff, so it's about to start beeping. So I'll turn that horn off. But normally it would allow you to open up the build and start the print. Now, another thing that you can do is once we're done here, we go back to manual operations, and I need to actually unlatch the printer because right now it's locked. So I will hit unlatch, and you'll hear the latch undoing. Alright, so the latch should be undone. And I should be able to open up the chamber. All right, and there we go. All right, so then of course we can remove these and place them here on the side. And then we will push this back in. So now we'll talk about the cleaning procedure. So the main things you have to clean are the temperature sensors. There are 3 of them, as well as the actual laser lens and the roller on the left side here. So the way that we clean most of this is with isopropyl alcohol, IPA, as well as these PEC pads, which don't leave any fibers when you wipe over them. So what we'll do, just to quickly go over it, the easiest way to clean these sensors is with Q-tips. So the lens for the IR sensor is actually very far in there, and it's easiest to use Q-tips. I don't have any at the moment, so I'm going to use a fiber pad, or a PEC pad. All right, so I'll go in here and I'll clean that off. Again, easiest to use a Q-tip. You want to make sure that you don't really get the oils of your finger in there. That's not good. But just try to clean those lenses. You can see a little bit of yellow powder has actually come off of this. All right, so that's good to go. Again, best to use Q-tips for those. Just don't have them at the moment. All right, the other thing we need to clean is the actual lens. This is very important to clean, as if you have too muddy of a lens, the light will be scattered and you don't get the actual correct spot size of your laser and all of these things that come with that issue. So the lens is actually far up here. We just need to clean off any of the excess powder that is maybe caked on here. We'll clean that off. I'll also show the actual lens in here, so we'll take a look. You can actually see the lens up in there. So there you go. That is the SLS, and basically how to clean the major portions of the SLS. You also will want to take off this the roller here. Pardon the shaky camera. You will undo this screw and then this screw, which will take off this main plate, and then you'll take off this end screw here, as well as the screw back here, and you'll take those off. All of the Allen keys for this are right here, and then you can actually remove the entire roller assembly and then just clean it off with IPA, and then reassemble as is. All right, so that's basically it.